One of the big difficulties about talking about migration is that we're talking about a category, whether it's a legal category, a sociological category, or an anthropological category, which is extraordinarily fluid. So one day I'm a migrant, I'm not an Italian national, I'm a French national, I come to Italy, I'm a migrant, I'll go back to France, I'll become a citizen again. If I stay in Italy, what will happen to me? Well, I'll begin to get documents, I'll move from one category, perhaps a tourist, to a migrant worker, to a permanent resident. I may eventually decide to acquire Italian citizenship. And as I go through these categories, my identity changes, and the state's decision about me, about who I am, changes as well. That the category is a bit like a rite of passage, which can go on for a long time, but ought to end. Quite a number of member states who continue to use the appellation migrant for their own citizens they don't want. And so you get, for instance, in the difficult banlieue in Paris, even a political discourse. Former president, Nicolas Sarkozy, was particularly problematic in this terms, who talked about young French nationals born in France, born French, as migrants, and as bad migrants who need to be cleaned out. We put the term migration on it and migrant on it in order to avoid breaching one of the fundamental rights of the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Racial Discrimination, which is an ethnic, gender, color dimension, which is then hidden by the term migration. I think in terms of the future, the next step is we have to think about how to link free movement areas across the world. So we have the African Union creating a single free movement area. We have Mercosur, we have a number of other free movement areas. And I think instead of trying to think of a universal UN kind of system around diminishing the importance of borders, we should be thinking about creating agreements between the European Union and, for instance, Mercosur, providing for freer movement and perhaps rights of self-employment. That's usually the easiest for nationals of the two groups. And we can move forward in that way to try and destigmatize the whole question of migrant and transform it into a category which we no longer need.